Okay. I don't think I was live before, but now we are live. We're getting it together. All right. All right, guys, we'll start this again as we're watching Spider 25 versus Roper 10 at the Martin Luther King Day tournament. For those of you who missed the treat, we had an opening ceremony featuring City Council, Detroit City Council President Brenda L. Jones. She gave a speech to us, and also a song by Pastor Pamela Dixon from Holy Temple Church gave a song for, and then we also was able to listen to the iconic "I Have a Dream" speech at the ceremony, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. This is the Martin Luther King Day event, and this is the chess tournament portion of our event. This is an unrated tournament, and in this tournament, we have 30 participants, 30 kids. It's also open to adults as well. So I don't know if we have any adults in this tournament, but it's at least 30 participants here in this tournament. Remember, we have World Junior Online tournaments every Sunday at 12 p.m. And it ends around 3:30. You can sign up for those tournaments at Michigan Junior Chess Arena.com. Michigan Junior Chess Arena.com. The information is right below. We are also sponsored by Wonderful Clothing Line. This was created by a University of Michigan fashion and design student, and you can check out that clothing line at bcwarts.com. bcwarts.com. If you are interested in becoming an implodian yourself, all parents, if you want your kid to become an implodian, what is an implodian? An implodian is a kid who uses pattern recognition and imbalances to play the game. So what you do is you break down what's different about the chessboard, and then we teach the kids how to recognize those differences. And if you're interested in becoming an implodian, first time it's actually open to outside people, you can contact us at implodianchess@gmail, IMPLODIAN chess@gmail, or go to the Michigan Junior Chess Arena.com and contact us there. And from there, you can get more details and information about becoming an implodian yourself. I am Coach Brian Wilson. I am the leader of the implodians, and I just have fun doing these tournaments, and I really am appreciative of everybody participating in this Martin Luther King Day event. Now, let's get to the game. We're watching Roper 10 and Spider 25, who I believe is Yashwant Reddy with Spider 25. And you see that the imbalances, if we look at this game, the imbalances that stick out to me. Also, before I go on, shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Shout out to Caleb Proctor, Deemer's in the chat, Mrs. Daz, Mohana Daz, Caleb, Masvini Mbati, the Wind Grifters. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat here. Thank you for joining us here at the Martin Luther King Day chess tournament. Now we're watching Roper 10 versus Spider 25. We see this started out as looks like a Sicilian defense. Wow. Look at that. Bishop takes F7. Bishop takes F7. And the reason for that is because there is a knight to G5 check. And once you play knight to G5, he has to go probably to G8. Because if he goes to F8, he's going to lose his queen with knight E6. So king G8, knight to E6 will be played. But then I don't think he has enough for the sacrifice of the piece. He does have a strong knight in the center of the board. That is true. But the queen can easily move out of the way. And the queen could easily move out of the way to A5, to A7, some other square. So he goes king to G8. I'm expecting there's going to be a knight to E6 move. So this is going to be a very interesting game here. Roper 10 sacrifices on f7. Now look at that. Queen to queen to b3 check. And if he goes to h8, there's going to be a knight f7 check here, and it could wind up being a smothered mate. Oh my goodness. Look at this move here by Roper 10. And if king f8, queen f7 finishes the job, checkmate in the face. Don't want that to happen. So maybe he could play e6. Now, if you play e6, what's going to happen is you might have to sacrifice the rook here because you don't want the discovery to stay here. Now, there is also the move d5 where you can just give up. Oh, no, that doesn't look good at either, because after d5, you're going to still have knight takes d5. Wow, this is looking very, this is going to be tough for Spider 25 in this position. Wow, what a sacrifice there by Roper 10 on f7. As we here at the MLK Day tournament, shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm Poco. Thank you, Mpoko. Yes, it's a really good chess club. We are really have really good kids in the Imploding Chess Club for sure. All over. Now it's all over the country, though, these kids. We're just chess lovers. So thank you for the compliment, Mpoko. We're looking at this Roper 10 versus Spider 25 game. Now, I'm going to go around, but it's just, wow, look at this. That sacrifice was very, very nice sacrifice there by Roper 10 coming out. So let's go back. Let's go and find another game here. Let's check out. Okay, so Castech's very own Braylon Wilkes is playing Chessmaster Caleb B. Now, Braylon Wilkes has the white pieces. Braylon against, I think this is Braylon. I'm not sure. It might be. Might be Braylon. But as you can see, white has, no, definitely Braylon, because Braylon plays b3, the Nimzo Larson. So we have 2 bishops and 2 knights extra. So white is definitely winning this game here. Braylon might be considered the favorite to win this tournament, but I wouldn't want to be Braylon because all the pressure that he's going to face playing all these strong players. So being a favorite is not a good place in the Martin Luther King Day chess tournament. Let's go to another game. We got to get back to that Roper 10 game in Spider 25. We got to get back there. Here's Super Chester, veteran of the World Junior Online tournaments. I mean, like, if you put together all her wins, actually, that's what we need to do, is put together career wins and what the averages are. And maybe there could be an MVP of the season for the World Junior Online tournament. And if we had to pick an MVP for the World Junior Online tournament, who better to pick than Sisriya Mishra? I mean, if you look at her results in the World Junior Online tournament, it is very, 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 very good. And right now she has 2 extra pawns. And so she should be winning. She has a better king. Remember, guys, once the end game starts, the king game starts. And so once you see the queens off the board, then in your mind you should be thinking, hey, where should my king be? Because my king now is a fighting piece. And that's what you need to think about once the queens are off the board. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be an end game when the queen's off the board, but that is when it's starting to go into that direction. So you want to think about that when you are when you're playing your game. So here you see Super Chester has her queen or king on f5 compared to the opponent's king on f2. So she has a better king, 2 extra pawns. You could even make a case for the knight being good. Notice how she has her pawns on e5 and f4. This stops the knight from going to e3 and also to d4. This is called the Steinitz method. The way that you prevent knights from being effective is take away their advanced squares. And that's what she did with the pawn on e5 and f4. As you see that she's playing the move e4. Looks like she's going to convert this game as long as she is patient using her time. Also, about time. When you are playing a 15-minute game, you should think for at least 15 seconds. When you are playing a 30-minute game, you should think for at least 30 seconds. You playing an hour game, you should be thinking for at least an hour every move. So the time that you take when you're selecting your moves is very important. The patience that you use when you're selecting your moves is very, very important. So everybody be conscious of that in the Martin Luther King Day tournament today, because this is a 15-minute time control tournament. You get 5 seconds added on after every move. I would like for you guys to play that out. And I want to see good quality games from you guys in these tournaments. So hopefully we will see that here as we look at Super Chester. She is going on to convert her win. She has to watch out for the rook pawns, though, because a lot of times you can have draws if you just leave the rook pawn. All right, so let's go to another game. Johnny Stick from Bates Academy. Johnny Stick, actually falls to DDoS in that game. That game is currently over, so we're gonna refresh the board. Shout out to all of you guys who are watching on the Implodian Chess YouTube channel. Make sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about the channel. If you like what we're doing here, tell them. If you don't like my commentary and you think I'm not so good, tell me. Comment in the chat. We take all comments. All right, let's go to, now we have only 4 games left. Let's go to Cutie Chess, who I believe is Cutie Chess. I think that's ready. I think that is, I forget now, but both these players have played in the World Junior Online tournaments before. If we notice anything, the imbalances, I see that white has an extra rook here. I'm sorry, no, not an extra rook. The material is white has an extra pawn. Okay, and right now white is attacking black's queen. Black is taking her time here with 2 minutes left. This is Aurelia Damate. I believe this is Aurelia Damate. I think it's Aurelia who is Cutie Chess, and she is taking her time trying to figure out where she should put her queen. I believe maybe she should go queen e8 so she can keep control over the e file. But there is quite a bit of pressure that's on her right now. But queen e8, her main problem is this bishop on b7 that's blocked by its own pawn. So the bishop is pretty much just a tall pawn. She could even try maybe queen to c8 just to make sure the bishop is defended as well. But that doesn't help the rook in the corner on a8. But she's really running the risk of going too low in time. Not that she's going to run out of time, but she's not going to allow herself enough time to make the crucial decision that she's going to need to make eventually in the game. So she does play queen e8. See, that was a simple move that she should have been able to play that pretty quickly, because it does improve her position. It removes the queen away from the attack of the rook on d1, and it gives her enough flexibility as well where the queen is just not stuck in one spot. But if she would have been able to play that move quicker, then she could save time for something that was more critical in the position. Thank you, Poco. Thank you for liking and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. Crypto FN, Aiden Franklin? Has to be Aiden Franklin, not Aiden Song, right? Aiden Song is actually, I'm going to say it. Aiden Song is one of the best implodians out there. So I don't know if that's Aiden Song or Aiden Franklin. But we'll take any Aiden. So thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel Implodian Chess. As we watch Akash Bata play Cutie Chess here. And there's a big time advantage there. And black is down a pawn, but There's a lot of game to be played here. And remember, it's 5 seconds added on every time you move, so it's still kind of hard for you to lose on time. As long as you make some solid moves, you'll gain some time, 5 seconds at a time. All right, so let's go to another game. Bingo bango. Oh, man, Little Almond, the future of the Implodians here, has white, and it's not looking so hot. But I will say this, there is a imbalance that black has to watch out for, even though I don't think Little Almond did it correctly there. Little Almond, I think, moved a little too fast, but then I do not like the fast move in return from Keysoft 64. So now there's going to be 2 pass pawns there, and can the pass pawns make up for the knight, the extra knight there? So that's going to be the biggest question. Because black also has 2 pass pawns against 1, so the pass pawn can be created. I still would rather be black here. I would definitely rather be black. But how fast Keysoft is moving right now makes me think that white is going to have some chances. As I say that, Keysoft is taking his time now. Now you see there's another check here. And it looks like Keysoft is trying his best to just prevent the pass pawns from queening instead of really thinking about his own pass pawns that he could use himself. So here, I think Little Almond might try to run. Might try to start pushing these pawns and see if he could outrun the knight here. Now, there is a check here that will pick up the G-pawn. So after knight f4 check, that does fork the king and the G-pawn, but I don't know if you should even take that pawn. Now, this is the point where Little Almond has to really think. He does go to the light square here. And now if Keysoft takes the pawn, that pawn on G5 is going to be very fast. And I don't know if you can catch it. That pawn is running a 40-yard dash in 4.2 seconds. So I don't know if that's going to be possible. All right, it is Aiden Franklin. That's my boy Aiden Franklin, played in the World Junior online tournament, I believe, yesterday with a good performance. As we watch Little Almond versus Keysoft 64. Little Almond is 8 years old. 8 years old, or is he 7? I think he's 8 years old. And his journey to be one of the top 8-year-old players. Now, wow, now this was nice here. Now, black found the right move. And so looks like black is definitely winning here. Now this pass pawn can't be stopped. The king is not fast enough. And the big problem for Little Almond, now Little Almond can play the move G3. He did. He played G3. The knight is kind of stuck on the rim here. But here what black can do, black just ignores it. Which was good. Now what he should have done, what Little Almond should have done is take first. Take first and leave black with only 1 pawn. That would have been a much better decision. And so that might have been the biggest decision for Little Almond, as Little Almond is trying to queen the pawn here. Keysoft 64 is going to have to figure out a way to make white's king go behind the pawn. So that will stop white from queening the pawn. And the way he would do that is to check here repeatedly. Oh, he takes the pawn. And this is going to be a draw, guys. Oh, wait. No. Oh, it's not a draw because... No, it's a draw. So this rook pawn, since it's a rook pawn and the king is here on the 7th rank, this is actually a draw as long as you do not allow black to control the H8 square. Wow. So what Little Almond would do is just go back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth until and if he's forced in the corner, he would go into the corner. Now he doesn't want to allow white to control that square. That's not what he wanted to do. Now he should go back here, threaten to check again, checkmate again. Oh no, where's he going? Oh, no. Oh, he got it back again. He has to go forward. And what happened is Little Almond is moving way too fast here. He's moving way too fast here. Way too fast. He just goes, oh, now where is he going here? And so now he loses the game because he's moving too fast. Moving too fast. Now queen to G2, G7 wins the game. Oh, no. Oh, no. And that's going to win it. And I just want to show you guys, just for instructional purposes, exactly what should have happened here. I'm going to turn on the analysis board here. And I want to show you guys what should have happened here. So if we go forward, go all the way to the end game here. So after this queen here, no matter what what happened, if Little Almond would have kept this up. Now, he had his chance here. He made a mistake here. He went there. He shouldn't have went there. But once he goes here, all he has to do is go here. And then if a check happens, he just goes here. And if a check happens, just keep going. Check happens back here, just keep going. You're threatening the queen again. If you check back here, just go here. Now, if you come here, check. You can come here. If you go here, here. And if he checks here, just go into the corner. Because he needs the king in order to mate you. And then once he moves the king, it's stalemate. Your king can't move anywhere. So he can't move the king. He just has to continue to move the queen. But no matter what, if you just stay on these two squares, he can't actually win the game. Check. 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 And go into the corner. So remember, guys, if it's a rook pawn on the board, as long as your king is connected to that rook pawn and it has to be on the 7th rank, even if your opponent has a queen, it's a draw. Also, if it's a bishop pawn, it's also a draw in a different way. So that should have been a draw. Little Almond, again, moved too fast. Had 4 minutes. There was no reason to move that fast. Little Almond could have figured that out, but he's moving very fast. And, of course, he made a mistake by doing that. All right, let's go to another game here. Now, I wanted to get to the game Roper 10. I don't know if that game... No, that game is still going on. What happened here? Oh, my goodness. This was an incredible sacrifice. Roper 10 wins the game. Oh, my God. That was an incredible sacrifice here. Look at this game here. C5, and then the move bishop C4, and a check here. Oh, my goodness. What a tactic here by Roper 10. Noah Gibbs. What a game. Queen to B3 check. E6. Rook takes E6 here. Not even knight takes E6. And then he moves the knight back. And then, boom, a discovery check here. Knight F7. You have to take that. And look at this game here. And now it's just cleanup duty. Cleanup duty. What a game from Noah Gibbs. This is probably one of the best games that I have ever seen, even on the World Junior Online tournaments, that I've ever seen here. So, guys, this was a really, really nice game here by Roper 10. Definitely got to do a breakdown of this game in the future. Let's go to another game here. Okay, we have 3 games left. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're done with all the games. So it's 13 minutes till the next round. Let me just shout out everybody in the tournament. We have Roper 10, Keysoft 64, Caleb P1, Akash Bada, shout out. WJH3122, shout out to Wallace. Marcel P007, former World Junior Online Champion, shout out to you. DDoS 10 and 9, D Brothers, shout out to you guys. Blue EP Chess, that's my boy Park. What's up, man? And then Braylon Wilkes from Castech, what's going on? Long time no see. Hetch Patel, also a champion of the World Junior Online. Leon 1357, imploding in the house. Sith Slayer, I think is new to this. Checkmate Chase. I think Checkmate Chase has played here before. Super Chester, one of the best World Junior Online players out there. Cute, sorry painted. I think that's Aurelia Del Monte, I believe. I think that's Aurelia Del Monte. Cute, sorry painted. Shout out to the Del Montes. Roper 7, that's my boy Deemer, Page Orange from, I believe that's Cornerstone with Page Orange. Darrell 26, Chessmaster Caleb B. Is that Caleb Benny? What's up, man? We got 10th Teeth, Ethan Chin, won many trophies already, World Junior Online. Bates, famous, Johnny Stick, that's Jonathan. What's going on? Aiden Franklin. Yep. At Lightning Alex, Implodian, Alex Zhao, Puzzle Expert at Yoth. What's up, man? Spider 25. I think that's Yashwant Ready, the future of the Implodians, Little Almond. Khalid Proctor. What's up, man? Khalid P1. Samuel P7. And, of course, Cutie Chess. Shout out to everybody that participated in the Martin Luther King Day tournament. We'll be back in 10 minutes. See you soon. Okay, guys, remember when you are playing your games, you have to have your video on. If you do not have your video on when the games start, you will not be eligible for trophies. Just let you guys know. So when the games start, it's okay to have the video off now, but when the games start, your videos must be on in this tournament. This is not like the World Junior Online tournaments. We're gonna have video on in this one, but in the World Junior Online, we do the honor system. So I know everybody is honorable, but I just want to make sure you guys know your video needs to be on if you want to be eligible for a trophy. Thank you. All right, guys, 1 minute. We're going to start the next round. All cameras should be on. All right, we are back. And to the Martin Luther King Day Chess Tournament. We this is round number 2. We're gonna get right into the games. Make sure you check out our sponsor, Wonderful Clothing Line. That you can check out that clothing at bcwarts.com. You can see the information right there on our ticker. All future tournaments. We have a whole January slate of tournaments, World Junior Online tournaments. Got to check it out. That's at MichiganJuniorChessArena.com. You can register for those tournaments there. Costs $15 to play in those tournaments. Those tournaments are rated, USCF rated tournaments. And also we have lessons available. You can become Implodian for the first time, available to the public. Implodian chess training. You can sign up for that at MichiganJuniorChessArena.com or contact us at implodianchess@gmail. implodianchess@gmail. IMPLODIAN chess@gmail. Let's get into the games. Also, shout out to everyone that joining us at the YouTube channel in the chat. Shout out to everybody that's listening there. All the parents that participated in today's events, Martin Luther King Day ceremony. Brenda, City Council President of Detroit, Brenda Jones, and also Pastor Pamela Dixon of the Holy Temple Church, who gave us a song, blessed us with a song today at our ceremony. I will post the ceremony, the recorded ceremony, on the Michigan Junior Chess Arena website and also on Facebook as well, Implodian Chess Facebook, so you guys can see that ceremony as well. And maybe I will even put it on YouTube under Implodian Chess YouTube channel, so those of you who missed the ceremony will be able to see the wonderful words that were given to us by Brenda Jones, City Council President, and also the song by Pastor Pamela Dixon. And let's get into the games. All right, so right now, after that fantastic win by Roper 10 in the first round, we have Roper 10 versus Blue EP Chess. As we see the move D5 here, really strong move here. And Blue EP Chess played the move Bishop C4 against the Sicilian. This is really not the best of moves, mainly because of the move D5. So once D5 is played, the bishop on C4 is going to be attacked, and you're going to have to move that bishop away. So that means black is going to have the biggest share of the center because of the move D5, which attacks the bishop and the E4 pawn. So that's why bishop C4 is not the best way to play against the Sicilian. But what this means is that black might be a little bit better here now. But of course, it's still going to be a game. As you see, Blue EP Chess is using his time to think, which is what he should do. Remember, it's 15 minutes. You should be thinking for at least 15 seconds in a 15-minute game every move. So he decides to take here. Now, one thing about the move that he just made here is he does give up his best pawn on E4. I would have probably moved back to A2 to keep the pawn on E4 as much as I can. But it looks like he wanted to play the move Queen to E2. Now, Roper 10, since he has this nice space advantage, he should want to keep the pieces on the board. So after Queen E2, the move Bishop to E7 and Castle should be the method. the queen is misplaced on e2, mainly because that open file is, you're going to see a rook that's going to arrive on the open file for black. There will be a rook e8, and you're going to have to move that queen again. And remember, in chess, you want to save the moves that you have. You don't want to waste any moves, because when you're playing really good competition, every move really, really matters. So the queen e2 move is not the greatest move, because that queen is going to have to move again because of the appearance of a rook on e8 later in the game. As we see bishop to g4, black chooses to keep his king in the center right now, which I think is pretty surprising. Maybe he's looking to play knight to d4 right away, which makes some sense. What you're doing is you're attacking the knight and the queen. The knight is actually pinned. So in order for white to continue to defend the knight, he's going to have to move his queen. Like I said, you're going to have to move the queen again. So he goes queen to d1, back to his original square. And right now, Roper 10 is doing an excellent job of this, really tightening the screws around black here in this position. All right, let's go to another game here. Caleb, P1 versus D-Dice 10. They're already in the end game here. And if we look at the differences between black and white, white has extra pawn. So white is definitely better here. So D-Dice is now attacking the E6 pawn here. And the reason why white now I'm going to upgrade the assessment to winning. The reason why is pawn islands. So if you want to evaluate how good your endgame will be, if you go into the endgame, that means you traded the queens, maybe a couple pieces have traded off. Now it's all about who has the better king in the endgame. If you want to know whose endgame will be better, should I trade and go to this endgame? It might be a question you might be asking yourself. You want to look at the pawn islands. What is an island? A group of pawns. So if these are in a group, these two, this one is by itself and this one is by itself. So that's 3 islands. Where white has 2 islands, a group of 3, a group of 2. So that's 2 islands. So that endgame, as far as pawn structure, is better for white because white has less pawn islands. So the burden of this is that these pawns have to be defended by pieces. Well, there's not many pieces on the board, which makes the endgame even more of an advantage for white, because since there's not many pieces to guard some of those weaknesses in those weak pawns. So white is already up a pawn. It looks like now that the only way the pawn on c5 can be protected is by playing knight to d7, but then he drops the e6 pawn because the knight no longer covers e6. So this is a complete winning endgame for D-Dice 10. D-Dice 10 is also taking an appropriate amount of time in this game too to make sure that he converts the win, and that's important. When you're winning the game, that doesn't mean you have won. Chess is not soccer or basketball. Whoever scores the most goals wins. Whoever scores the most basket wins. Whoever shoots the puck in the net more wins. Whoever gets the ball to the end zone more wins. No. You can have more pieces. You can capture more of your pieces than you can capture more of your opponent's pieces than they of yours. But it's all about checkmate. You can be up 10 pieces, but your opponent can have the 2 pieces to finish you off. So that's what it's about. So even though you might be winning, you haven't won until checkmate is on the board or your opponent resigns the game. So you have to be alert at all times when you're playing the game of chess. All right, so let's go around the world in the Martin Luther King Day chess tournament. Let's go to Sith Slayer versus Super Chester. Wow. Okay, so Super Chester here is the difference here I see is white has an extra pawn. Super Chester, it's white's move, and Super Chester has about a 3-minute advantage. Notice how Super Chester does not protect the d4 knight. Why? because if the queen takes d4, the queen will not be protected on d4, and all you need is to attack the queen with a simple bishop takes h7 check, which is discovery, and he goes for it. Oh no, oh no. And then she immediately plays bishop takes h7. Oh man, Super Chester, veteran of the World Junior Online tournaments, plays bishop takes h7, and now she's gonna pick up the queen, and Sis Slayer has to be kicking himself after that blunder. Let's go to another game. Here we have Leon 1357 versus DDoS 09. And we see that the Lichess rating of DDoS is 1831. Leon 1357 is 1554. DDoS has the pair of bishops, and what he's doing, and it looks like he might be losing one of those bishops, actually. He's trying to figure this out, but these bishops are skewered. You move the bishop on d3, the bishop on d2 falls. If you move the bishop on d3, or move the bishop on d2, the bishop on d3 falls. So this is going to be a hard game for... This is going to be hard for for white here. Looks like black is just winning a piece, as DDoS is now falling down to 7 minutes on the clock. Leon has a big time advantage. And now what's the best way that we can play this as white and get the most out of it? I think maybe you could try the move bishop to f4. No, because he goes rook takes f4. I don't know. Maybe bishop e3. And then from there, you can probably play rook takes. He takes the bishop, but you go rook takes a7. Rook takes a7, and then bishop takes a7. You have a hit on the knight. Yeah, this is going to be pretty tough. Or you can just maybe you can even get 2 pawns for the piece. Maybe a bishop takes h7, and then bishop to e3 and win the a7 pawn. And that's probably the best that you can get out of it. This is going to be tough here. These two have played each other 5 times, and their career record against each other is 2 wins and a draw each. So they're completely dead even. Despite the Lichess rating that we see, these two players are completely dead even. As he plays rook a to d1, he gives up the bishop on d3. Yeah, he gives up the bishop on d3 here, but that still looks like it was going to be winning for black. All right, let's go to another game. Oh, Het J. Patel, a former champion of the World Junior Online, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, might be a 3rd grader. I'm not sure if I'm not mistaken. But right now, Marcel P007, also a former World Junior champion, World Junior Online champion, is winning here up a piece for a pawn. But black has to watch it. Now look at the move that Marcel P007 plays. I love this move. He's not in a rush. He plays rook c2 to stop the one thing that white has, is that's a pass c pawn. So he's not allowing the c pawn to move. He's ready. Now there could be a move b4 here played. And then we see the move bishop to f8. One second here. Okay. And Marcel is locking down the light. Look at how this play is fantastic. Marcel P007. Stopping all counterplay. This is the way my favorite player, Anatoly Karpov, used to play, the same way Marcel is playing now, making sure there's no possibility of winning. He's definitely says he's not going to catch the winning disease. What the winning disease is once you're winning, you tend to take your mind off the game and things start to happen to you. You start to pick not the best moves, but you're picking B moves, C moves, D moves, while your opponent is on high alert playing the best moves that they can play because they're desperate. You have to meet your opponent right there and try to figure out what your opponent can do to make your life harder to win. And so that's what Marcel did here. He concentrated to make sure his opponent couldn't wiggle out, make sure he can lock down his win by playing this move, Bishop to B4, Rook C2. That's how you play the game of chess. What a future for Marcel P007. If he's not a top 100 kid, he will be a top 100 kid if he plays like this. So let's go to another game here, as Marcel looks like he is going to convert this win. Boom, boom, boom. Puzzle Expert imploding. Puzzle Expert. And Puzzle Expert did win this game here, but the game is over. So we're gonna go back out, and we're gonna get to the marquee game soon. We want to just go all over and give everybody a time on the stream. I think we didn't check out this is Lightning Alex against 10th Teeth. And Lightning Alex, this is just a win here. This is mate in 2. You got this king F1 and then D1 queen or rook. And that will be a staircase checkmate there, and Lightning Alex should go ahead and win that. Lightning Alex is also a implodian. Now we have Cutie Chess versus Aiden Franklin. This is a unique matchup of Cutie Chess and Aiden Franklin here. I believe Aiden is Bates Academy, strong chess powerhouse there in the city of Detroit. And we're seeing here, let's see what's going on here. Both players have 2 rooks. Oh, okay, so Black Aiden is actually struggling here, losing by a pawn. Yeah, Black is struggling, losing by a pawn. White has an extra pawn. Look at the nice knight that Cutie Chess has on C4. This is a really nice piece. We really would love it if it was on C5, though. That would be even better because it would be on a dark square opposite the color of the remaining bishop. So maybe that's what she wants to do eventually, is reroute that knight to C5. She is dominating this file here. She can actually, as you see F5, tell you the truth, the move F5 is not a good move. Now what happens is you're just putting another pawn on the same color as your remaining bishop. And this is also another one of those situations where this is the end game where your Black has 3 pawn islands, and so White is much better. Black knight can attack all colors, where the remaining bishop that Black has can only attack the light squares. So that means everything that's resting on the dark squares is to your advantage. For instance, putting a knight on C5, putting a knight on E5. Here, I would play the move F4 and place the knight on E5, and the knight would just dominate the center of the board. Okay. You also have moves like Rook to E7. That's also possible. And actually, White he did play Rook E7. That's a really nice move by Cutie Chess. But also, there's another thing that could be played here, because we should expect here King maybe to F8. But there's also a chance to just trade the rooks and go knight versus bishop. And with a knight and an extra pawn versus a bishop, in this type of position, the knight should also win. So this is a great game played by Cutie Chess. And also, I like the fact that both these players are using their time right? There, Aiden Frank is not out of it just yet. Aiden has a good opportunity to try to draw a game like this if he just uses his time, because it's not promised. There's no promise that Cutie Chess is going to make all accurate moves as he plays Rook D8, keeping the tension in the position for another move. So now it's up to Cutie Chess here. This is a quality game for both players, and I like this game here. You see Cutie Chess play H3, very solid. Very, very solid. And we see Rook takes E7 here. And I'm guessing the reason for this, because after Cutie plays Rook takes E7, we will see a King F8, King coming to the center, and this is going to become a really nice endgame. This Rook is going to have to move away from that. Now, where will she move after King F8? The key is, where do you move the Rook? You should think, because I see a lot of kids, what they do in the end game where the queens are trade off, they start moving faster. That's when you got to move even slower, because one wrong move in the end game could mean you lose. So a square is very important. Now, where do you put this Rook? I would say Rook to E5. The reason why, it has flexibility. It can go up, down, left, right. She does play Rook to E5. And from here, she can travel to the A5 square, attacking A7. She can put pressure on C6 from Rook C5. She's watching the F5 pawn. She can support her Rook on F5 with F4. Like, she has a lot of options with the Rook E5 move. All right, so let's go to another game here as we refresh. And now what happened in our marquee game? I think Roper 10 wins the marquee game as well. This was our marquee game. The tournament leader, Roper Chess here. And just want to go through this again. We knew this was probably better for black here. This move was very strong. I wouldn't have traded here right away, though. I would have waited. He could have waited until, like, move. Let's say he castles and then H3 happens. Then you trade here with the knight. Because now you can't take with the queen. And when pawn takes, then you're able to pick up this pawn here. So white could not force the trade just yet, so I wouldn't have traded here. He does trade, and look what he's doing here. He's immediately attacking the weakness around the king. Queen H3, threatening knight to F3 here. He goes to H, and then look at the Queen H3 move, threatening knight takes F3. There's a knight takes D5 move. This is not going to be good enough after... Actually, he didn't even have to do that. Maybe he didn't want to allow the trade here. Wow, he did miss this here. The move knight takes F3 was unstoppable. You would have to give up the queen. Yeah, knight takes F3. H2 is hanging. No way to guard. Oh, there's a bishop F4. All right, so that's the only way to guard that square here. So, okay. So he did trade here. Castle. And then... Wow, look at that. Bishop to D6, aiming at H2. F4 is played. Then knight to F3. Then white resigns here, because the only way you could stop this is to move queen. Queen takes F3, and that's not going to be good enough. So he resigns here. So that was an excellent game by our tournament leader, Roper 10. Who's playing, I mean, it's been a while since Roper 10 has played, but definitely maybe must be practicing, because these two games are some strong games here. As we're going to look at Leon 1357, and this is a battle of two kids who have a career, their career record against each other is even, 2.5 to 2.5. We see DDoS is down to 2 minutes, and Leon 1357 has 10 minutes left. So the time advantage is on Leon in Leon's favor, but there is a passed pawn here, and I believe it can't be stopped, because after we play the move b7, the next move is going to be rook a8 check. Oh, and he missed it. He could have played b7 here. Wow, but does it even matter? Oh, no, it does not, guys. It doesn't matter. Wow. I think he had to move his king. That's exactly what he had to do. He moved his rook here. Black had to actually move the king over to d8, because then if b7, king could always go to c7, and you don't get forced. A queen won't be forced through. But now that he's moved his rook, the simple b7 move, and the next move is going to be rook to a8 check, and then queen is coming. So this is not good for Leon 1357. Oh, and then DDoS makes a mistake and does not push here, and Leon is, oh my goodness, he's really lucky, and then it's a draw. Wow. Oh my goodness. DDoS missed a big opportunity there to win the game against Leon. Was kind of scared, was down in time, but should have enough time to win because you have 5-second increment. But wow, what a big result. These guys stay even. Their big rivalry, the DDoS 09 rivalry with Leon 1357, continues. All right. How many games do we have left? We have one more game. That's Aiden Frank 12 versus Cutie Chess. And this is a pure king and pawn endgame where white actually has 2 extra pawns, 7 pawns to 5 pawns. White's pass pawn is going to come here on the F file. Now, the key is, as both players have 5 minutes left, when you have a passed or a passed pawn, a lot of times those pawns are not the ones that will make it and become a queen. As we see the move g5, I think is a big giant mistake, because now f5 will be a protected passed pawn. But what happens is, what you want to use, guys, is the passed pawn as a distraction. So if you have a passed pawn on one side of the board, you want to be able to take your king all the way to the other side and take all the pawns. But it looks like here black is just going for it, trying to hope. He was hoping white would not recognize the move a takes b2, and so now white is just going to simply just queen this pawn here, 2 squares away. Black can't stop it. Black's king is not fast enough to stop this here, and black can only hope that a stalemate it would be possible, and hoping that white is not paying attention to the squares the king can move to, and maybe a stalemate. Again, shout out to everybody that is joining us on this YouTube channel. We are watching the Martin Luther King Day chess tournament, and feel free to chat and ask any questions in the chat. Any questions in the chat. I'll make sure that I will give you guys a response quickly, as I am watching the chat as well. As we see, Aiden Frank has about 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Plays the move h5. Then again, just hoping that white is in a rush and doesn't pay attention to what's going on the board. Now the queen has appeared on the board. F1 or F8 queen. And now it's all about your mating technique here. As we just see h takes g4, h takes g4. And then here, Aiden is trying to make it to where he has no moves left, and then maybe he can get a stalemate. Here, Aiden does have king moves. He moved king to b5. We're going to probably see the move c4 check, or even the move, yep, there he goes, king to b7 check. Oh, and queen takes c6, Have to watch out for stalemate. Luckily for white, black does have king b4. And then to move king to b6, and that should do it. That's checkmate. So cutie chess is just checking to make sure there's no other square the king could move to. Oh, and even better, queen to a4, checkmate, and the game is over. So that was our last game of the round. And that was the end of the second round. We will continue the third round in about 14 minutes. I will see you guys soon. All right, guys, we have about 13 minutes until the next round. Feel free to grab a bite to eat. If you have to use the bathroom, of course, go ahead and get that done. Okay, we are back to the Martin Luther King Day tournament. And this is the start of the third round. The games are 15 minutes with 5-second increment. Remember, you guys can register for tournaments. The information is right below on the clicker, MichiganJuniorChessArena.com. You can register for chess lessons and our January slate of tournaments as well. Every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be playing the World Junior Online Tournament. Also, shout out to our sponsor, Wonderful Clothing Line that was created by a University of Michigan fashion and design student. You can look at that clothing line at bcwarts.com, bcwarts.com. Now let's get to the games. The first thing we want to look at is the matchup of Roper 10 versus Braylon. Roper 10 versus Braylon here. And how did this start here? Now, Roper 10 is undefeated with a terrific game, the first game, and also the second game here. He's using the London system. Knight comes to e5 immediately. And now he is thinking here, taking his time. And then the move bishop to b5 is played here. We should expect the move c6 to come right away. And then he plays bishop to d3. And that makes a lot of sense because from here, the bishop cannot control e4 anymore. That makes a lot of sense here. Because now if the knight goes into e4, it's just two attackers on the e4 square. So here, queen f3 here. And from here, he's just going to swing over to h3. And there's going to be some problems with the h7 pawn. And we see queen to e7 for black here. This is a marquee matchup because I think Braylon Wilkes, whose rated USCF rating is 2,000. Not 2,000, almost 2,000, 1,900. I don't know. He's definitely close to top 100. He will be a top 100 player for sure. As we see the move queen to g3. I thought maybe queen h3 could be a move here. Oh, there we go. The move queen knight to h5 was played here. I wonder if bishop takes h7 could be played here with the idea of queen h3 pinning the knight to the king. That is a possibility. Bishop takes h7, king takes h7, and queen h3, g6, and g4. As Roper 10 is taking his time here, looking at that possibility, bishop takes h7. Or maybe even just playing queen to h3. That pins the knight to the h7 pawn. He does go bishop takes h7. Wow. And then queen h3. Now, I don't know, what do you do here with black? Do you play g6 or do you just play like rook h8? knowing that after queen takes h5, king g8, the rook will be attacking the queen here. I think I'd still rather be white here in this position. As Braylon is taking his time here, he's going below 12 minutes. And this is our marquee game, guys. We're going to go around the world for a minute. I know you guys want to see this game, but we're going to go around the world a little bit. But this is our game between our two undefeated leaders, Braylon Wilkes from Cass Tech High School, the greatest high school in the world, and Roper 10. And, of course, where's Roper 10 from? This is Noah Gibbs from the Roper School. Okay, we'll go to another game as Braylon thinks about that position. Let's look at DDoS 10 versus Marcel P007. Looks like DDoS is currently up 2 pawns here and definitely winning this game. Of course, he's going to be able to create a pass pawn with the 2 versus 1 advantage on the queen side as DDoS plays the move rook to b7. I'm sorry, Marcel is white and DDoS is black. I'm going to say this again. I'm very impressed with Marcel P007, who I believe is a 3rd grader, or at least in K-3. I'm going to have to look up where he's from. He might be from Illinois, but this kid, I have to look and see if he's a top 100 player. He might not be, but he will be. I'm very impressed with his play. Marcel P007 winning by 2 pawns against DDoS 10. Shout out to everybody that's following us at Implodian Chess and is in the YouTube, on our YouTube stream. Thank you for all the comments and chats. I see Crypto FN says there, you're horrible at the endgame. Endgame is something that you have to work at. There's a great book. It's called Silman's Endgame Course. If you have a chance, get that book, Silman's Endgame Course. You can get the Audible or what is that thing? Not Audible, but that's an app too, Audible, where you can listen to the books. But listening to chess books, that's not, I don't think that's a good thing, is it? Because you can't see the board and the pattern, the diagrams, but not Audible. What is that? Kindle. You can get the book, Jeremy Silman's Endgame Course on Kindle, where you can actually see the book there, right? You can see that on Kindle and read it, or you can get the physical copy Jeremy Silman's Endgame Manual, the physical copy. Nothing wrong with the physical copy of the book. Sometimes it's better to have the physical copy. Am I weird because I like to smell the new pages of the book? I don't know. Does anybody else out there like to smell the pages of new books? Or even pop like the bubble wrap? I don't know. I might be weird. Maybe it's just me that enjoy these things. But I like the physical things as well, having a book in my possession. So, we're going to go to another game. This is Super Chester versus Leon, 1357. Hey, of course, I am an Implodian. Leon, 1357 is Implodian. But Super Chester is going to be a hard matchup for Leon, 1357. Right now, it's even. Leon has white. Super Chester has black. And I actually like white's position. White has a very good control over the center with this pawn wedge here. And white also is using the queen side pretty well. You're looking at moves like rook to a7 could be a play here. As you see queen to d3, just attacking the b5 pawn here. He has to watch out, though, because even if the b5 pawn drops, you don't want to give up the e4 pawn, because the e4 pawn is the reason why white has a space advantage. So queen d3, very solid. I kind of like the move rook a7 a little bit better. Get these rooks to the 7th rank if you can. But queen d3 is very solid. And now with Super Chester, she is a minute behind Leon on the clock. This is going to be a very, very good game. Now, they have played 3 times in their history. And the series is Super Chester has won 2 times and Leon has won 1 time before on LeChess.org. So Leon has some history of actually beating Sastria Mishra before. And maybe she knows that, and she knows she has to be careful with a dangerous opponent as Leon Ma or Leon 1357. All right, let's go to another game. We'll try to get back to our marquee game soon. Just want to go around the world. Here is Alex, Lightning Alex, Implodian Lightning Alex versus Blue EP Chess. Ilbert Park, strong player, has won many tournaments in the many chess trophies in the World Junior Online tournaments. And we see white is actually down a piece here. Rook and bishop versus rook 2 knights. And so black is definitely winning in this position here. All black has to do is get those knights coordinated. You would like, instead of the move rook f6, you would like for him to play knight to g8 to f6 and place this knight on this weak square on e4 where it really would dominate the whole game. So that would have been a better plan here for black. But hey, black is up a piece. Shouldn't be a problem at all as long as he stays away from the winning disease. Let's go to another game. We got Caleb P1 versus Het J Patel. Very talented player. Het J Patel is black and Caleb P1 is white. And white is completely winning this game. This will be a pretty decent size upset if this actually happens. This is a queen and bishop and 2 pawns versus a 6 pawns, or I'm sorry, 5 pawns here. This won't be enough. White should be able to easily win this game as white controls the queen square in front of the d2 pawn. There probably will be another passed pawn that's going to appear, but it won't be enough to stop white here as we see the move bishop takes here. We're going to see queen takes here, and this is just going to be an easy win for Caleb P1. An upset win, actually. So, good game there. We see that WJ is 3-1-2-2. Another underrated player in this tournament is now finished his last game with a win and has 2.5 ahead of everyone else. Let's get back to our marquee game here. Braylon Wilkes versus Roper 10, who has been tearing it up with games with, I mean, he had 2 games with no inaccuracies. 0 inaccuracies, which is very, very hard to do. And so now we see him, there's 2 rooks here and a knight versus black has 2 rooks and a bishop. And you gotta realize, guys, that Roper 10's real USCF rating is around 1,000. And Braylon Wilkes is 900 points higher than Roper 10 at over 1,900. So this would be a huge upset if this is pulled off by white here. Huge upset. As you see, Roper 10 think here. Now, if I count the pawns, there is Roper 10 has all the pawns, and Roper 10 is actually up 2 pawns. Wow. As we see the move knight to f7, attacking the rook, threatening knight d6 check. This is not good because knight d6 check would win the bishop on b7. Also, there might be mating nets too with f3 and rook to g5 check. Mate. Actually, it might be mate, force mate anyway. As we see, rook takes H4. Wow, and look at the king. Braylon's king is on E4. Uh, and then checkmate here, and Braylon is checkmated on the board with rook to D4, checkmate, and this is a nasty checkmate. And Roper 10 wins again with a performance that is like a grandmaster. Never before seen performance here with this move. Braylon Wilkes, I mean, 4-time state champion at Castec High School, plays on the top team, 1900 player, and Noah Gibbs wins this game here. And not just wins, it wasn't close. This was a dominating win here. Wow. Okay. All right, let's go to the other games here. Now, actually, you know what? Before we go to the other game, let's look at this game. Let's see what happened here, because this is something that we're gonna have to look at. So here, after B6, we see Bishop F4. He's playing the London system here. Knight to E5 right away. Noah is playing like the engine. Bishop to D3. He plays bishop to B5. This was actually an excellent move here. Bishop B5, C6, and then bishop D3. After castle and queen F3 here, which is an idea of the London system, going to queen H3. And then after queen E7, he plays queen G3, an engine's top move. And then the move knight to, and we talked about this move here, queen H3, he goes knight H5, bishop takes H7 was played, king takes H7, and then queen H3. Top move by the engine. And rook to H8, and then queen takes H5. And then here he plays queen takes F7. Whoa. Wait, why would he play that here? Queen takes F7. Queen takes, knight takes, king takes. And the idea is to take on D6. All Stockfish's top moves now. Knight D7, knight F3. And here he plays the move rook C8. Knight G5 was played, another Stockfish top move. And here, after king to F6, he plays H4, Stockfish top move again. C5 and queen side castle, another Stockfish top move. And now here, you look at this position. This is just terrible for black. Look at, he's down material. Look at the king here. And here, C3 was played here. B5, and then the move rook H3, bringing the rook to try to figure out a way to checkmate the king here. Rook C6, and then bishop to E5 is played, another Stockfish top move. Knight takes E5, pawn takes E5, the king has to step away, and then here rook G3, another Stockfish top move. He goes F5, and then you have knight F7, another Stockfish top move here. Rook takes H4, and then checkmate in 2. Wow. So here, this was nothing but top moves by the 3,500 rated Stockfish. By this kid that is rated 1,000 over the board. What a tournament he's having. All right, so let's look into the other games here. There's 5 games ongoing here. Wow, let's look at Leon, 1357 against Super Chester. Leon is up a pawn here. I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he was gonna go rook to h8, but that's not checkmate. So Super Chester gains a pawn back here, and now Super Chester does have a passed pawn. You have to watch out for that. As we see the move knight to this is a mistake here. This is a big mistake, guys, because the move d6 forks the rook and the knight. How do you get out of this? I don't see the way you can. So he's gonna actually have to go rook takes knight and go down the exchange. Oh, she misses it. She misses d6. That was a big miss there. Big miss with d6. But now Leon has to really notice the move d6, as he has more than 2 times as much time as Super Chester here. Leon would love to have a draw in this game for sure. Maybe you see the move knight to f3. Okay, so Leon plays rook to c7, attacks the pawn on d7 twice. You're probably going to see the move d6 played. And then maybe knight to f3. Or maybe also could be rook d1 check, and then rook d1 check, king h2. And then maybe d5 could be played here. So let's go to another game here. Johnny Stick versus Spider. Wait, what happened here? Okay, Spider 25 wins that. I'm gonna refresh tournament here. We have 3 games left. Let's look at Akash Bada versus DDOS09. DDOS is down to right below 2 minutes. This game is white is winning up 2 pawns here. So that's DDOS09. But the problem is DDOS has limited time on the clock. Oh, I'm sorry, not winning. DDOS there's a rook. So DDOS is down a rook. So it's actually 3 pawns for a rook. But boom, look at that. Checkmate on the board for DDOS. Comes back being down a rook. See, that's what I tell you guys. Down a whole rook. But if you're winning and you catch the winning disease, these things happen to you. And so hopefully Akash can look at this game and learn the lesson. Hey, let me move slow. Let me make sure my opponent doesn't have a check. Can't attack a piece more times to protect it. Can't attack a piece of greater value. Let me make sure those things happen. And then I will convert my win. So, oh man, that's a disappointing result for Akash Bada. But hey, we have another round, another 2 rounds to go, so you can make up for it. Oh, Little Almond, the future of the Implodians here, 8-year-old. And this game is very tough. This is game is even in material. Both kids have 6 pawns. But the thing is, though, Black's king is better than White's king. You see, Black's king is on Black's 3rd rank, and White's king is on White's 2nd rank. So the kings are the biggest difference here. But I will say this. White should be able to, no, can't actually do that. So White can't come up to the E4 square like he wants to. He moves away. He shouldn't have done that. Maybe he could have taken here first. That was possible. As Black's king is starting to become more and more menacing, Black's king wants to go into C4 and come into B3. This is the advantage of having an active king here. An active king. And Black's king is way more active. And it's almost like having an extra piece. As we see, Little Almond, who is Andy Kwan, actually plays an excellent move, B3. But look at Black plays in return A4. A4 is played there. All right, and Little Almond plays the move B4. This is going to be hard. Black should easily win this because now the king is going to enter in and start taking pawns. And this is not a good sign for Little Almond. Cutie Chess is completely winning in this game. Completely winning here. Now, this tournament is... we use fair play, Lead Chess fair play guidelines here. If there's any computer help at all, the account will be flagged. And what they do is they ban your whole IP address. So that means you will never be able to play on leadchess.org again from that site if you are flagged from using any type of computer assistance in these tournaments. Now, if it happens in this tournament, we are going to rearrange the results if there were any improper play. So if you played someone that was using some engine, those results will be erased and you will be given credit for winning that game instead of losing that game. And then that will alter the results of the tournament. And also the trophy standings as well. So once we make sure that all fair play was adhered to, then we will send out the standings and the information for trophies. And then once that comes out, we're going to need your address so we can send you guys the trophies. And hopefully you will send us some pictures with you smiling next to your trophies and from the Martin Luther King Day Chess Tournament. Presented by the Implodians. As we see King 2. Now, this is interesting here. As we see King to C4, Black might have allowed White to come back here. If the rooks come off the board, it's possible that White will be in good position here. Definitely possible. As we see a check here, he should go back to D2. Now here, Black, it is a zigzag position. I actually think it is a zigzag position. As we see him go back to the F8 square. Now, White probably will take a draw here, of course, because Black's king is just so dominant in this game. You don't even want to risk it. So see, back to E8. Now the king comes probably back to D2. Now, if this position repeats again, if it hasn't already, it might have already been 3 times. Usually the computer will actually claim a draw for you if you do the same, have the same position 3 times. But now black got smart with it and actually played the move rook to E7. And this is a problem for white because now the rook is going to be able to enter into maybe E1 or E2. So now after rook to E2 check, you're going to have to block. You got to block here. Oh, and then he blunders here. Oh, no. Little almond, you had lots of time, and you just didn't have to move that fast. But definitely blunders, and that's the second game that I think Little Almond moved fast, and instead of holding the game this time, will lose this game. In the last game, I believe he could have won the game instead of losing as well. So it's all about the time, right? When you have more time, there's no reason to move faster than your opponent. There's no reason to do that. And so Cutie Chess should go ahead and win that game here. As we're going to watch the last bit of this. As they are the last game here. And this will be, after this game is done, we will go into the 4th round. Guys, we should be finished by 4 o'clock. As we see, checkmate here. And the games are done here. Okay. And here we go. And that is the end of the 3rd round. We're going into our 4th round now. And we'll be back in around 14 minutes. See you guys soon. All right, we are back to the Martin Luther King Day chess tournament. And just again, I want to tell you guys again, you can register at Michigan Junior Chess Arena for all our future tournaments this month and even further months, because every Sunday at 12 p.m. we have a tournament for the kids. We're also going to have an open tournament as well, where we're going to have a grandmaster featured in that tournament. So look forward to that as well. Open tournament for everyone. And then what we're going to do, the whole plan is to build up enough of you guys so we can do the World Junior Arena. The World Junior Arena, that is going to be a league of 5 kids per team with unique logos per team, website for your team on Lichess, and we will be competing in a league. And how do you join these teams? You just join the draft. You will be drafted like you were, like the NBA or the NFL. You will be drafted to each team. So I can't wait for that. Details will be coming about that league soon. All right, let's get into the games here. Roper 10 is on a roll in first place. Marcel P007, the K3 Wonder Kid, is sitting there undefeated as well. WJH 3122 from the state champion Cornerstone team. I believe WJH 3122 Wallace Harris is now at University of Detroit. And that middle school team is going to be something special to look at this coming year. And then we have D-Daz. It's also 2.5 here. D-Daz 09. I don't know where D-Daz 09 is from. I think maybe he's from out there in Canton, I believe. Maybe he goes to a Canton school. So, and then we got Cute Sorry Painting. Is coming in with 2.5. So very, very nice. And then Leon 1357, D-Daz 10, Spider 25, Super Chester, and Braylon coming in there at the 10th place spot on the first page. So I'm just gonna do a little checking here. All right. Sorry, guys. We get back kind of answering questions from the kids at the same time doing this stream. So, gotta forgive me here. Let's get back to the game here. That picture was a picture from the Civil Rights March in, I believe, in 1964. What game should we look at first? Let's take a look at the marquee game first. See how they started out. Looks like this was a Sicilian defense here. As we see, Queen B6 here, E6 here, and then the move D5. That is an important square in all Sicilians. Bishop C5 here, and then castle, and then now. What do we see here? Queen A5 here. The plan with Queen A5 looks like to play maybe Bishop to B4. And that pins the knight to the rook here. And probably he wants to go knight F6 or knight to C5 to E4. He does go knight F6 here. And now A3 is played here. And now it's Roper 10 here, who actually has more time than he started out with, was able to play all these moves, and he has 15 seconds more than he started out with here. As he plays queen d8. Probably looking for the move knight e4, but you can't play that because a queen takes g7 checkmate. So that's why he goes back to d8 here. Both sides have even amount of pawns. I will say there is a weakness here on a7. And Marcel P007 is really thinking about this move here. I wonder if not playing the move rook to e5, that looks like a pretty sneaky move, trying to come to the square rook to g5. Instead, rook to d1 probably could do the same thing here. Maybe a rook lift here, going to h4, but definitely pinning the pawn on d5. So now it's up to Roper 10 here, who's actually finally thinking for the first time. You see moves like bishop to b4 could be threatened here. There's a hanging a3 pawn. But it's all about this knight, this queen, and this bishop on this long diagonal here. As we see rook c8. That makes a lot of sense here. Putting a rook on the open file here. Behind the bishop on c3 is a unprotected c2 pawn. I'm going to guess that he's going to play maybe something like rook to d3 and then rook f3. Bringing that rook lift, attacking the f6 knight here. So definitely rook to d3 with the plan of rook f3. All right, let's go to another game. Around the world we go. Let's look at WJH 3122. That's Wallace Harris against D.09. And these guys have an extensive history because they played in the World Junior Arena. I mean, the Michigan Junior Arena. Even though we had more kids from around the country on those teams. And so they were drafted to their teams, and they had many games against each other. Also, we had daily World Junior Arena tournaments where they play each other too. So these two players have played against each other a total of 25 times. So they have played 25 games against each other. With this being a 26th game. Now, WJH 3122 has won 15.5 and D.09 with 9.5. So WJH 3122 has an advantage with the head-to-head matchup. Even though you see that in this time control, because in the other games, it was 5-minute games with 2-second increment, faster time controls. But have they played in this time control? I don't think so. And in this time control, you see DDoS has a lead chess rating of 1828. And then WJH 3122 has a lead chess rating of 1709. So that could be a big difference. Every time control is different. You might be good in slower times compared to faster times or vice versa. So this is going to be a pretty interesting game. Now, I will say this. White is winning here in this game. White has an extra bishop. So white is winning here. And for those 5 pawns, black has 7 pawns. So it is 2 pawns against the bishop. Now, when you have a material imbalance like that, bishop versus 2 pawns, yes, the piece normally wins in those positions. But it's still possible for you to win as long as you make the material that you have an active participant in the game. So since there is 2 extra pawns, you want these pawns to actually move together. There is a passed A pawn. You don't want to lose that passed A pawn, because if you're able to push that past A pawn, then that pawn can make up for you having the missing piece. As we see the move knight to E4 played here. And of course, if knight takes E4, D takes E4, and that pawn is going to be attacking the knight on F3. So now it's all about, where do you move this knight on F3? You have knight to E1, knight H2, and then knight E5 probably would be the best move to make. Wait, what happened here? Oh, he plays, WJ responds and said, hey, I'll take your knight if you take my knight. But the problem with what WJ did is he allowed the knight to be able to go into the D3 square, right, and attack the rook on C1. Now, and after knight D3, of course, the knight is also still attacked by the pawn on F3. Now, after knight D3, you just move the rook away. Of course, if black takes the knight on F3, then white could take your knight on D3. So, but the problem for white is that this knight is so strong on D3. You have to, be concerned about this knight that's in the center of the board on your side of the board. It's like a bone in your throat, trying to get it out. So that knight on D3, coming to D3, will be a bone in the throat. So let's go to another game. These two will be playing for quite a while. Two really good players today at the Martin Luther King chess tournament. Let's go down to the bottom here. Cutie Chess. Cutie Chess here versus Super Chester. And we see the imbalances here. White has 7 pawns, so does black. Both players have bishop and knight. But I would rather be white here, black here, mainly because the pawns are isolated. The pawns are isolated. On an open file. So just because the pawns are isolated doesn't mean it's a bad thing. A lot of people think it's a bad thing because this is isolated sounds bad, but it's not a bad thing. It's a different thing. In this position, since they're both on open files, they're easy to attack. So I'd rather be black in this position. Now, the positives of having these isolated pawns, because they give you more square control. So you see this D4 pawn does a really good job of controlling some center squares. Controls C5, controls E5 here. And then the D3 pawn controls C4 and E4. Also, it gives you the use of an open file where your opponent doesn't have the same use. It's closed for black, open for white. And just notice you could put a knight here on this E5 square. This knight can actually go into C6. Hold on, I might be changing my mind about these isolated pawns now. All right, even though I still think I might rather be black, I think white has enough compensation to make up for the pawn structure problem. Shout out to everybody that's here joining us at Imploding Chess on our stream. Make sure you subscribe to the channels. We see knight f4 hitting the rook on e2. We might see the move rook to e4 attacking the unprotected knight on f4. So Super Chester is thinking. Super Chester has a significant time advantage in this game, so that could help her as white as this game game goes on. So let's go to another game here. Let's do Kisov 64. Oh, nope, that game is over. It looks like DDoS wins that game against Keysoft 64. Make sure I update the tournament here. How many games do we have left? We have 8 games still going. Leon 1357. He's playing Spider 25, and I think that's Yashwant Ready. Around a 1400 over the board player. As we see, Bishop takes e6 from Spider 25. In this game here, there are 6 pawns for each side. And a knight versus bishop. So that's a big imbalance. Bishops are usually better than knights when there's pawns on both sides of the board. And when there's pawns on one side of the board, the knights are usually better. Because the knight doesn't have to... the weakness of a knight is it can't go from one side to the other as quick as a bishop. But if they're only on one side, the knight doesn't have to worry about that. But then the weakness of a bishop is that it can only attack one color. The strength of a knight is that it can attack both colors. So that's why... if there's pawns on both sides, the bishop is usually better. Remember, usually. Always exceptions. And then if there's pawns on one side, the knight is better. Usually. As we see the move knight to c6, he did not take on a2. I wonder, what was the plan here? He didn't want to take on a2. Instead he plays knight to c6, not being greedy at all, which I admire from Leon 1357. And also Leon 1357 has a time advantage as well. Okay, and then we see the move queen to b2. We're gonna go. I'm gonna do a brief intermission here. All right, we are back here looking at the Leon 1357 game versus Spider 25. Still, the game still looks like this is a knight versus a bishop in game. Black has 4 pawns on the queen side to white's 3. So this is where the pass pawn is going to come for black. But as I said before, the bishop is usually good when there's pawns on both sides of the board. And Leon also has a big time advantage over Spider 25. So let's go to another game here. These games are getting very tense because this is a mixture of kids. Like some of these kids have played in World Junior Online. A lot of these kids are from the Detroit Metro League, Online League. And then we have kids that are living in other states that have been playing in the World Junior Online as well. Some of the kids have played each other over the board in Michigan. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the kids that are from other states that have played in the World Junior Online have played in many over the board tournaments, whether it's the Nationals or other national tournaments against some of these kids. So these are the diehards that we have here today at the Martin Luther King Day chess tournament. Let's look at Little Almond versus Lightning Alex. These are two imploding kids here. And Little Almond has a advantage in rating here, as we see. But Little Almond is down a piece. He's down a knight here. And currently we see the move knight to c6, attacking the queen here. You want to keep this queen as active as you can. Maybe the move queen to b6, keeping watch over this knight and the b3 pawn, plus the a6 pawn is defended there. So maybe queen b6 would be a good move here. But this game is this winning game for Lightning Alex, and also Lightning Alex has a big time advantage as well. So let's continue to another game. Let's go to Caleb P1 versus, oh, this game is over. Caleb beats Blue EP Chess. And I believe that's a second upset for Caleb P1. So excellent game there. All right, so there's 5 games going on here. The game with Roper 10 here. Oh, it was a draw here with our leader against Marcel P007. Just wanted to see if they played into a draw. Okay, and it's just nothing but a rook in game here. And then here, I guess someone offered a draw, even though black is much better in this position, but a draw was accepted there. All right, and let's go to WJH3122 versus DDA09. We see that WJH is up a knight here in this position against 2 pawns. So black has 2 extra pawns versus this knight. Black's hopeful result is to get a draw. And I believe actually black is in good shape to get that. So what I would do with black is, of course, play f5 and then f4. That way doesn't allow the king or the knight to get any advanced squares. As we see the move rook to b5. Probably should play f5 now, just to control that king, stop the king from coming any closer. And then if you play the move f4, then you can kind of push the king backwards with rook to a2 and try to hold the draw here. But what he did instead is play rook a2. Now that's going to, you can bring the king up to e3, but then I will say the knight doesn't have any good squares to move to. And actually, white is not threatening to take the e4 pawn because that would be a blunder after rook e2, which would fork the knight and the king. As we see the move rook a1. The only move that he can play is this move knight to c2. So I think that DDoS kind of moved a little bit too fast there. He could have if he could have left his rook. Rook was in a perfect place on a2. Black could not move at all, and probably should have followed through with f5 or just left it where it is. Now look at this. He goes back to f2, so you get to reset this position with rook a2. This is going to be very interesting for black as we see the move f5 played here. Maybe he plays d5 here, or the move rook to b6 or rook to e5, attacking a weak e6 square. I would rather see the move rook to b6. Instead, he plays the move rook to b3, threatening rook to g3. That's not really a big threat here. You even have rook to d1, hitting the unprotected d4 pawn. He plays f4 here instead, and DDoS is doing an excellent job here of trying to hold this draw. We have the move rook a2 now, check. Probably can match that with rook to d2. Really tying down white's pieces with this move here, rook to d2. So I think that black has enough to definitely draw this game, because this pass pawn alone is enough. And there's the draw. They agree to a draw there. That's a good result for both sides. Good job. All right. We have 3 more games to go here. Oh, we did not see the Aiden Frank game against Checkmate Chase. This game is a knight versus bishop endgame as well. There, black has an extra pawn. It's a pass pawn, but is that pass pawn a strength or a weakness? I would say it's more of a weakness. But see, the problem is when you, even though you, it's always an advantage to have a pass pawn, because what happens is white is going to have to commit to taking this pawn with the king and the knight. Now, in the meantime, what is black going to do? Because once that pawn is taken, you're no longer up a pawn anymore. What you have to do is get your king active. You want to bring your king. If you can possibly bring it to a4, then okay. But you might have to get ready to enter your king on the king side while your opponent is distracted by the pass pawn, so that your king could take a couple pass pawns. So remember, pass pawns usually act as a distraction. And we have a saying, fire in the chicken coop. Create a fire in the chicken coop, or fire in the farm, and then the farmer goes to tend to the fire, and then the fox comes to steal all the chicken eggs. And so that is what we call a chess term, fire in the chicken coop. That describes the process of having a pass pawn. So we see white is trading off as much material as possible to trying to simplify the position, which is a smart choice. Now see here, this is white's effort to surround the pawn. Maybe knight to e1, that will win the pawn here. Now it's all about what is black going to do, because the pawn on d3 is gone, right? But you just don't want to cry and look at it. You want to be able to plan something out. What are you going to do in the meantime? Can your king get to an area where once that pawn is captured, it's going to be just kings on the board? Whose king is going to be better once that pawn is captured? You want to have your king to be the best piece on the board. So that's what black has to think about now. Aiden Frank is currently thinking about that. He has 1 minute and 12 seconds. That doesn't help him against Checkmate Chase's 5 minutes and 52 seconds on the clock. All right, so let's go to another game here. We have so this game ended here. Super Chester gets the win over QT Chess here. That was a pretty big win there, because that game was back and forth. All right. So we only have the one game left here, and that is Aiden Frank versus Checkmate Chase. As we see, just what we talked about that was going to happen is the king and the knight covering this pawn here. Now what black chose to do is save the bishop, which I don't believe was the correct move here. Now you're going to have a knight versus a bishop situation. Bishops are usually better when there's pawns on both sides, but that is usually. Now, I think that this position, especially since the pawn that's remaining on the queen side is on a dark square, I believe white is now actually winning this game. Winning this game here. Now all we're going to see is the move G3 and H4, putting all the pawns on different color of the remaining bishop. And then the king is going to also come into a dark square as well. And then all you have to do is attack or double team one of the weak pawns on the other side of the board. So you see he made G3 play. H4 is going to come up pretty soon. You might even have knight to H4 played eventually as well. So white is the only one that can win this game here. I like the move king to G5 because after H4, you're going to have the move king G4. Now, even though king G4 is played, I do believe after king F2, you're going to have to leave this square because the pawn is on a dark square. It can't be attacked by anything else. Okay, so this move here is very interesting. Knight to F4 attacks the bishop here on D5. H4 might be coming soon to keep those pawns on that same color. You also have the pawn way over here on A5. White might be looking to try to surround that pawn, but he has to first make sure that the king can't enter and take his pawns on the king side. If you put these pawns on dark squares and you stop the king, and this is what I would do here. I think I would play king F3. So once I kick the king out, the king is going to have to go backwards. So the king can never enter on the G4 square again. And he actually goes king F2 instead of king to F3. But the king, and so he has to watch it here because there's a move, H4 that can be played. And that was played here. If we were on F3, that wouldn't be a big deal as it is now. So black is fighting back here. Checkmate Chess has 4 minutes. Aiden Frank has 41 seconds. Remember, there's 5-second increment in this game. And Checkmate Chase is in 29th place against Aiden Frank. That's in 26th place. But I would say even though they might have struggled in this tournament, these moves that they're playing are pretty accurate, by the way. So these kids are playing pretty well. I don't know if they have any history against each other, because sometimes when you play some players before, you know, hey, I don't care how my tournament goes, I know that guy I'm gonna play my best against because I don't want him to have bragging rights on me. You know, when you guys are going to after tournament, you're going to lunch. You know, a kid brings up that I beat you for the trophy the last time, and so you remember those things. So when you're playing in a game like this with some tension like that, sometimes you tend to play your best chess in those situations. Competition is wonderful when it comes to that. So as we see, there were some trades here. Now this is going to be a pure king and pawn endgame, but now the black king is a little bit better, but this looks like this is going to be a draw. Now, I'm interested to see if, now, wait a minute. Now, white is going to be first to this, because what happened here is Checkmate Chase went the wrong way. He went the wrong way, guys. He went the wrong way. He had to run to the corner. Let me show you guys. Once we won the pawn, we won this pawn, right? We have to hurry up and get here. That's where we want to go. Immediately. Once we get there, we draw. Right? Any one of these squares here. Any one of these squares, we get the draw. We don't have to try to go chase him and try to catch the pawn. So look at this. We went the wrong way. He's trying to chase it, and he still has a chance to get to this square. He's going the wrong way. Now he can go up, 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 up here, or even in the corner. And that would have been a draw. But by him trying to take the behind approach, it's just going to be a win for Checkmate Chase here. And that's why I advise you guys, all you kids that are watching, to get the in-game book manual, Jeremy Silman's in-game course. Get that book. It breaks down the end games by rating. Like if you are from 200 to 1000, it shows you the end games that you need to know. So you don't have to memorize a whole bunch of end games at one time. It breaks it down by rating. Once your rating gets here, these are the end games that you need to know. So that book would have helped in this situation and saved a point for Aiden Frank. As we see, Checkmate Chase is just trying to set up the checkmating pattern as he cuts the king off, and he's doing the right thing. He's shrinking the box around the king, and the best way to do that is to imagine your queen was a knight. So you would go queen to e4. If that was a knight, it would be a king check, right? So queen to e4 shrinks the box. The box is now 4x5. Now it's black's turn again. He shrinks the box. He can go king to d4. He makes the box 4x4. So when I say 4x4, when you go here, the box has four sides, four squares width, and 4 squares length. So 4x4 would be this box here. As we wait on checkmate chase, queen d4 would be the best move here, or the quickest way to checkmate. And the one thing is, you do want to checkmate as quickly as possible and not play around. I see some kids say, hey, I want to get 3 queens. Well, guys, this is the internet. So if you get 3 queens and your internet connection goes out, guess what happens? You lose. Yeah, you lose if the internet connection goes out. So I would advise you to checkmate as quickly as possible, because you do not know what will happen during that time where you're playing around. So you do want to finish the game as quickly as possible. Again, shout out to everybody that's joining us in the chat for the YouTube live stream, Implodian Chess live stream of the Martin Luther King Day Chess Tournament. As you see, Checkmate Chess shrinking the box. Checkmate Chase shrinking the box. Now the box is 3x5. He's going to go to F3, make the box 3 by... Okay, so he made it wider here. He made it wider. So he's going to bring the king in. So maybe he's going to use the king method, bring it in early. Okay. All right, so now the box is 3x3. Now all he has to do is go queen d2. And, okay, so he did it a different way. All right, so now he has it the right way, and then boom, we're gonna have checkmate on g7. There you go, and that should do it for round 4. So, all right, so round 1, we still have Roperton, who's having a terrific showing here with 3.5. Marcel P007 is tied for first place with 3.5 too. Right behind them is DDoS 10 with 3. Super Chester has also 3. WJH 3122, and then DDoS 09. They all have 3. Leon 1357, Spider 25, Roper 07 is up there now, chipped in with 2.5, and then Caleb P1. Caleb P1 is there and in the top spot, and that is the first page results here. Actually, let's go to the next page. Blue EP Chess, cute sorry painting. Braylon didn't even play his next round here. Kesov 64, Het Patel, Lightning Alex, Johnny Stick, Cutie Chess, Sis Slayer, Puzzled Expert, Akash Bada, Checkmate Chess Master, Caleb B, 10th Teeth, Little Almond, Caleb P1, Daryl 26, Aiden Frank 12, Samuel P7, and Paige Orange. That is who we have here. We will be back in around 12 minutes. See you soon.
There's only one more game, right? Money Run? Yeah, I got confused when you meant money.
Yes. 100 to 100 for my grade.
Either.
I'm in fourth grade. 1082, I think. Yeah.
After the tournament ends, the Zoom will end too, right? Okay. Did the standings for the World Junior Online yesterday come out? I don't see the standings and I never got emailed about it. Oh, okay. Okay. On the stream today? Oh, I got fourth. That's probably why. That was the grade one. Yeah, fourth was the grade one. Or fifth grade, or whatever, K to 5. Now, will it be the obvious first to second and third to fourth? Is it going to be like that? Like, will the first place person play the second place player in this round? Okay. Oh, yeah. I was just wondering if they like have to play each other, or if like they don't have to. No, so it's me versus Marcel. Uh, yeah, I played her before.
So then it would be down then after the first four are done, it would be WJH versus Leone and DDoS 09 versus Spider 25, unless they've already played.
Okay. Wait, so then it would be who against me? Okay.
Yeah, so the tiebreakers work on the rating of your opponent or how? Oh. Yeah, like yeah, cause like yeah, cause like when I played
Wait,
with
so the better your opponents do, the better your tiebreaks are? So we also get more tiebreak points. That's wonderful.
yeah, cause like I have the same point as Roa Pertan. He has 3.5. I have 3.5, but his tiebreak is 8.75. Mine is 6.75.
Marcel and I are the only ones with 3.5.
All right, we are back here. Shout out to our sponsor, Wonderful Clothing Line. You can check out this clothing line at bcwarts.com. Also, all future tournaments you can register for at michiganjuniorchessarena.com. If you want to become an Implodian or your child wants to become a Implodian, you can sign them up for lessons at michiganjuniorchessarena.com or contact us at implodianchess@gmail. IMPLODIAN chess@gmail. And again, thanks everyone for joining us at the Martin Luther King Day chess tournament. We have 30 kids playing today. And we were looking at the game Marcel Peace 007 versus DDoS 09. we see that DDoS is currently thinking down to 11 minutes. As you see him play knight e5, a really nice move here. He's threatening maybe knight takes d7, winning the pair of bishops. We're going to see DDoS probably playing the move d4, rook e1, really controlling the center of the board here. Has a nice bishop on b3 compared to the bishop on d7. You see who has the best minor pieces here. So white is definitely better in this position, but a lot of game to be played here. Yep, sorry guys, I know I was muted there. Going back and forth. So shout out to everybody that's in the chat. I see Darrell Grant. Shout out Mr. Grant in the chat there. Thanks for all the likes and subscribers to the Imploding Chess YouTube channel. Let's look at another game here. Let's look at Roper 7 versus Blue EP Chess here. And when we look at the imbalances here, we see a pair of bishops for Blue EP Chess, which could be to his advantage. Wow, he did not take queen takes d4. Maybe that was a mouse slip by Roper 7. Looks like he was going to go queen takes oh, he didn't want to do that because of queen takes a3. That was the threat here. So he played queen to d3, protects the knight here. Wow. This is the bishop. Bishop pair is here, but this bishop on c8 is not good. This bishop is just a tall pawn. It's blocked by its own pawns here on a6, c6, and e6. And if you look at what white's plan is to go knight to c4 and then the knight to d6, which is a very strong square here. Now, of course, we couldn't really do this now because there is a knight takes, a bishop takes e5 threat here. As you see, black has now played a5. The goal is to play bishop to a6 and release the bishop from his prison. As we see knight to c4, threatening knight d6, but bishop a6 is going to come, attacking the knight twice. Bishop a6, maybe rook c1, and then rook to b8. So black is fighting back, using the pair of bishops. Very, very nice game from both sides. Both sides have about the same amount of time. This is a battle for the first page. If you want to be on the first page, because there's 30 kids and there's 3 pages of standings, this is the battle between number 12 and number 10. Let's go to another game. Roper 10 has finished his game here. What happened in this game? Let's see. So Roper 10 wins the game against Super Chester. Again, what Roper 10 is doing in this tournament, too bad it's unrated, but so he plays h4 here. And after d6, knight f3, bishop e2, or knight d2. Then here he plays the move, let's see, he plays knight g5. And here, black is better in this position. After d takes e5, d takes e... Oh, what happened here? Oh, wow. What happened here? Wow, I don't know what happened here. I don't know if someone resigned or what. But something happened there. All right, so let's go back. Wow, I don't know what happened in that game, but we're going to get to the bottom of that. We're going to get to the bottom of that. It might have been some improper play there. We don't know yet. No one panics. We'll get to the bottom of it.
Mr. Brian.
Caleb Proctor, did you have a question?
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes, I had a question.
Go ahead.
My question was, are you gonna announce who's getting the trophies, or?
I won't announce who's getting the trophy until I make sure that everybody has did fair play. So that will
Okay.
only come in an email. Now, what you see on the standings on Lee Chess, if there's fair play, then that's the standings right there. But as far as who's in what grade, I have to figure out how many eighth graders, how many third graders, how many fifth graders. So I have to figure those things out first. So you're gonna get those results will be in an email in a day or two, and then from there you're gonna have to respond with your address so I can send you the trophy. All right, we are back. Sorry, I had to answer some questions from kids doing a bunch of things at one time here at the Martin Luther King Day chess tournament. As we watch DDoS 10 versus WJH3122 from
No, that was it.
the state champion Cornerstone team. Now, I believe H3122 is now a part of the University of Detroit team. Here, looks like DDoS is winning this game here by a rook, and so it looks like White should go on to win this game. If Martin Luther King had a speech that he gave right before he was assassinated in, I believe, Memphis, Tennessee. You guys should check out that speech. It was a very powerful speech. I know we like to look at the I Have a Dream speech because that is the commercial response, but there was a lot of speeches by Dr. Martin Luther King, and one of the greatest speeches he gave was the speech he gave right before he passed away. So you guys can check that out. Also, the ceremony that we had today before our tournament, if you are new to this stream here, we had a ceremony with Speaker, City Council President of Detroit, Brenda Jones, and Pastor Pamela Dixon of the Holy Temple Church, who sang for us, and the City Council President actually gave us a speech as well. That broadcast, I will be posting that broadcast on Implodian Chess, and also Implodian Facebook. So you can check that out at Implodian Chess YouTube channel, and also Michigan Junior Chess Arena.com will have that ceremony that we attended before today's Martin Luther King tournament. I'm going to go to Roper 7, who looks like Roper 7 is winning here, has a pawn advantage, I want to say. So, yep, the Roper 7 has the win. What's happening here? Oh, yes. Yep. And so this pawn is going to be too fast for Blue EP Chess to catch. So Roper 7 should go on to win that game. All right, let's go to Sith Slayer versus Het J Patel. We have a game where it's even material. And you see black is 2 squares away from queening. Can't queen because after h2, king will just take on g2. So can't queen here. And this is a textbook draw position here. Textbook draw position here. Between these two players, battling for 19th. Number 1 is number 17 and number 19. Second page players here. Het J Patel and Sith Slayer 150. I think this is Daniel Hall, I believe. Shout out to Daniel Hall. As this is just a draw here. Now what black is trying to do is get control over the g3 square, but all white has to do is just move the bishop back and forth. This is one of those games, if you try to win it, you lose it. So the bishop can just go back and forth and back and forth. And so for instance, like here, he didn't have to move the king, so now he has to play bishop to d6 check. Right. So now the king moves away, and now you can move the king back there again. Just continue to move the bishop. That should be a draw. It'd be hard to lose a game like that, even though it's possible. All right, Cutie Chess actually beats Lightning Alex here in this game here, and this game is over. So let me refresh these games here. We have currently 3 games left. Marcel P007, who is trying to finish the tournament with 4.5 result. And at this point here, both players have the same amount of material. We just seen to move d4. The threat is the h7 pawn here. But not a big deal with a simple g6. Now, I will say this. I would rather be Marcel here because the weaknesses, again, more pawn islands. There's 3 pawn islands for white, only 2 for black. And the weakness on d4 is real. So after g6, the pawn on d4 just cannot be defended really well. Now, I do see the move. Oh, and also the bishop on a3 is pinned. The rook on a2 is not protected at all. This is actually a pretty good position for black. And also, not only that, black has a big time advantage here. 6 minutes and 30 seconds as DDoS ticks below 1 minute soon. See the move bishop to b3. This protects the rook on a2. So now you might see moves like bishop c5, but we don't have to wait on that. We can play knight to d4 right now. Knight to d4 right now could be played. Bishop takes d4 as well. You can even play queen takes d4, even though I wouldn't recommend that. But you could play queen takes d4 because the move rook d1 is a blunder by white. Because you just sacrifice your queen on d1, bishop takes d1, and then the rook comes behind it with rook takes d1. And that's checkmate, back rank style. All right, so that's 5 minutes and 48 seconds. I like how Marcel is using his time here, trying to find the right move. You see the double the rooks, keeping that tension. Marcel is a really good player. I said before, it reminded me of Karpov, how he eliminates counterplay. Looks how he piles up the rooks on this open file here, pinning the bishop to the rook on a2. This is a beautiful way to play the game of chess. Now you see queen f3. It's a forced fast move by white here. Of course, white only has a minute left. And now you might see the move knight to... Oh, I'm sorry. No, you can't do that. I was thinking maybe knight d4, because after queen takes, you don't want to do that. Marcel just simply goes bishop g7, keeps the pressure on the d4 square. Now he can take d4 when he wants to. And this is the perfect time to take d4. Now, he does take on d4, threatening the queen and the bishop on b3. Queen to d3 was played pretty quickly. And now I'm wondering, like, what would Marcel do here? He does go knight takes b3, allows the queen capture here. Queen takes b3 is played. Now Marcel has to watch out for moves like rook to d1. Right now, it's still even material. Like I said, I do like black better because black has... Look at the rooks that are kind of stuffed in the corner. All the pieces are on the side of the board. But I will say this. White does have adequate defense. You see how Marcel plays queen d5. Excellent move. He's looking to make his pawn structure better with this trade. Of course, white should not trade that. Probably should move probably queen to c2, I would guess. Because you want to keep the pressure on this c6 pawn as long as you can. Because this is one of the only weaknesses that black has on the board. And there's dual weaknesses. There's a b2 pawn that could be weak for black. You see the bishop on the long diagonal. But both players have to worry about back rank problems as well. Black's king is not so safe. Only has the square h8 to move to. And white's king is stuck here, only has h1 and f1 to move to as well. So back rank problems could be a factor in this game. But the biggest factor is the time advantage. D-Daz only has 46 seconds, and Marcel P007 has 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and he knows how to use his time. All right, so we'll come back to this game here really soon, because this game is probably, it doesn't have much time left, so we will have a decisive result soon. It's our last game, so we're gonna see what's gonna shake right now. Look at this move by Marcel. Plays the move bishop to f8, solves all back rank problems. The bishop is pinned. The bishop is pinned here as he plays h3. I wonder if he will actually take this. He doesn't have to take this at all, because if the bishop takes on f8, then you're just gonna win the exchange with the rook capture. But he does take that, which I'm kind of surprised that he released the tension there. Now Marcel is thinking here, and that might have been the only time I've seen Marcel make quick moves here. So now I believe white has more than enough to draw the game. Does he have enough time? We should anticipate the move rook to... Okay, so he plays queen to c3. I thought rook c3, double teaming the c6 pawn was the best move here. I'm wondering if this check is going to bring any success after check and maybe queen d6. Is this g3 stops all the checks there? Maybe so. Here, rook c8, protecting the c7 pawn. So you see white now, with all the liquidation, okay, now D-Daz is running to 10 seconds, so he has to move fast as he plays b4. I'm not so sure that b4 works that great. His plan is to take the queen after that, so I don't know. We can go c takes b4. Oh, if we go c takes b4, I'm sorry, c takes b4, it'll be queen takes c8. So that works wonderful. So this is what I mean by the liquidation, Marcel. He took a time. Most game he took his time and used his time really well, especially when he was winning. But that one moment where he went for the trades on the a file, that was the one time he moved fast. And that probably wasn't the best decision at all. Because what's happening is he's liquidating his winning chances. Now, of course, black still has a pawn advantage. Still has a pawn advantage. So a pawn advantage is a pawn advantage, for sure. But when it's only rooks on the board, there's a lot of ways to draw. As we see D-Daz is going, looks like, oh, okay, so he actually, now look at this. In time trouble, he messes that up a little bit. Now, I think Black, Marcel also moved really fast here. He had a chance to simply just take the pawn. Simply take the pawn. You're winning a pawn here, but instead he pushes here. And it's the biggest question is if this is a weakness or a strength. Now I will say this: D-Daz had to do it because he had to move fast. He did allow Queen takes B, and Rook B3 was played right away. You see that the plan for Black is to go Queen D2 and try to cover the square in front of the queen there, but. And here we should see King E2, and this is going to be... Now, I thought maybe we're going to see Rook 2D. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I didn't expect that at all. King takes... Oh, but then Rook takes F2, and then there's a problem here with G2. As D-Daz has gained more time, 37 seconds, but it is a complete losing game because he's down 2 pawns here. So something drastic has to happen for him to try to draw this game. But I've seen it happen as we see the move Rook to E3 attacking E6. We're going to start to see E5 and E4. Another pass pawn is going to be coming. What White would like to do is trade both of his pawns for Black's pawns and see if he can create mating net and stalemating opportunities with that combination. So let's see, G4 would be a move that I would play. He goes from the back here, trying to check from the back. It makes a lot of sense here. Oh man, and then Black is going for a mating net here as he pushes the king first. But the problem with going for this mating net is now like, okay, now your rook is going to have to go to A6 so you can cover G6 here. And you're just making it a little harder for yourself instead of just simply getting the win. So Marcel could have simply just pushed the pass pawn, made the pieces commit. Still winning for Black. It's just going to be a harder process here. As D-09 goes Rook to B8 so he can have some checking distance to check the king. See if he can get some repetitive checks going to try to draw the game that way. We see Rook to B3. He's doing that to cut the king off the king's pathway, but it's still he still can play the move E3. The pawn could still go. And now if the move Rook B4, you're going to see the move King to E5. Oh wow! So the move G3 allows King F3, which makes it even better for Black here. And here, Black can actually make another pass pawn here, or just simply go King F2. So he does go King F2. And this pawn can't be stopped, guys. The pawn cannot be stopped. He's going to be able to go King F1 and Queen the next move. The Rook drops behind here. Now, the funny thing is, yes, he's going to pick up the queen. If you queen, that's fine. But still, there's a rook and 2 pawns that will be left. So the purpose, what I'm saying is after queen check, you can go rook to F8 check. King has to go to D6. And then rook to E8 check. And then the skewers the king and the queen. But here he plays rook to d4, and there's the checkmate here. And Marcel Pedraza, Marcel P007 wins that game. And we're going to go back to the standings here. And so if the standings stay where they are now,
finished.
we have to check all fair play first before we announce who the winners are of the first annual Martin Luther King Day chess tournament. But you see in the lead chess standings, we have two players that are tied at 4.5. Tie breaks lean towards Roper 10 to be the champion. And then third place is DDoS 10 with 11.5 there. Very, very close. And then I'm going to name the others. And we also have trophies for top K8, K5, and K3. Spider 25, Leon 1357, Roper 07, Super Chester at number 7, Dida 09, Kisov 64 makes the first page, and WJH 3122. They're all on the first page with Johnny Stick, Cutie Chess, Sith Slayer, Caleb P1, Cute Sorry Painting, Blue EP Chess, Braylon, Jay Patel, Lightning Alex, Little Almond, shout out to you guys for participating. Khalid P1, Puzzle Expert, Chess Master Caleb B, Daryl 26, Akash Bada, 1364, Checkmate Chase, 10th Teeth, Aiden Frank, Samuel P7, and Paige Orange. Shout out to everybody that participated in today's Martin Luther King Jr. tournament. Now, what's going to happen, kids, is once fair play is checked, your emails will be sent to you declaring who the winners were, and we're going to need your address. Getting your address so we can send those trophies to you, and hopefully you're going to send us some pictures with your adulation when you receive those trophies, your smiles. I would love to have those pictures. It makes us feel warm inside to see you guys so happy. Again, representing our sponsor, wonderful clothing line, bcwarts.com is where you can find that clothing line. All future tournaments you can register at michiganjuniorchessarena.com, and as well as lessons at michiganjuniorchessarena.com. And I had so much fun with you guys today on this stream. The great ceremony that we had with City Council President Brenda L. Jones and Pastor Pamela Dixon from Holy Temple Church giving us a song at the end. What more could we expect from a quarantine Martin Luther